Hi guys, I am now 2 weeks post-op and wanted to share with you an update now that I am 1/3 of the way through my healing journey. So let's run through my 6 surgical procedures and how they've changed since coming back to England for the second half of my aftercare. So starting off with mole removal, I had 4 moles removed. That's 1 from the back of my ribs, 1 on my neck and 2 on my arm here. 1 of them have come off, which was just in the shower. It lifted up the dressing and there are very small, fine white dissolvable stitches left. The skin beneath is pink and beautifully fresh and will look lovely once it is healed. The stitching is so small and tidy, you will literally blink and not realise that a mole has been removed. I'm really happy with this procedure. It doesn't feel sensitive at all, it's not ached or hurt, and it's something that will make such a big difference to no longer catch and snag and my moles to bleed. It also removes that risk of skin cancer from moles changing abnormally, which is wonderful for peace of mind. So let's go down internally then to my 3 intimate procedures. First of all, my labiaplasty. There is 0 swelling left. 1 of the stitches came off in the shower when I was washing earlier, and just a fine kind of plasticky white thin stitch was just kind of tied in a little pretty bow in my hand after passing some bubbles over that area. The rest of the stitches are all very much still intact, and as they dissolve naturally, it's a case of them just dropping away as and when they are ready. But it hasn't been pulled out or snagged or anything wrong. It was just the first one to heal and then to drop away. So having stitches from the labia minora all the way round and under to the anus is a lot of stitches, but equally, once this is healed, the transformation of the area is going to be insane. As you can see, I'm wearing tighter clothes once more now. I am still going underwear free, which is really nice. I'll be honest, it's not something I'd ever considered in life. Up until this point, I normally wear G-strings, which are very minimally invasive, just a very fine string that kind of sits as close to the body as possible. However, when I was in Turkey, I wore lots of dresses, skirts, loose flowy things, loose baggy trousers, so the area had a lot of clearance. Now, even though these are firmer and tighter, they still do not touch the area. However, I am approaching my first period post-op, and where I would normally use tampons, as I like everything to be kept tucked away and tidy and clean, I don't like anything to touch me or to be moist or wet, I will be using winged pads for the first time. I have some boxer brief, ladies brief shorts to be able to stick it to and then tape it into place. So we will see how that goes. It's going to be a new experience for sure, but it's 1 step closer to healing, and I hope that it's as easy as having a normal period post-op. Looking at internally, there was some initial bleeding after surgery, which is completely expected, where you have stitched up the birth canal effectively. It's been cut away, the excess tissue, brought together and stitched all the way. Those internal stitches will have to dissolve, as well as any bleeding on that surface area of the wound, just naturally coming away and passing. It looked like a kind of light pink discharge or spotting as you would have prior to having a period, and can go on for a couple of weeks. I haven't noticed any of that for probably 3 or 4 days now, so I know that that internal cleansing and healing process is definitely moving into the next phase, but this will be replaced with a period. So after my period ends, I will then be able to see if all internal bleeding has stopped. But it was very light. It was not obvious that I'd had a surgery. It was more so like a kind of build up to a period that it felt like. So if there is heavy bleeding after surgery, definitely contact your surgeon. However, mine was just very light spotting, which was expected as the blood that is within just naturally passes in the discharge, which is a natural cleansing and healing process. So I am 1/3 of the way through my recovery now for my vaginoplasty. That's 2 weeks out of 6. And by week 6, I can return to the gym, I can resume intercourse, I can use tampons as normal. Life becomes exactly as it was before surgery, but with all of the benefits of having had the surgery. So I don't have any internal pain or discomfort. However, when I pick up something or lean or kind of twist, you realize your pelvic floor engages. Something that I wouldn't really pay attention to in everyday life, if you pick up a child or carry your shopping bags. However, when I'm now going to do normal everyday things, if I pick something up and I realize it's quite heavy, you kind of get a clench. You can feel the sensation of the pelvic floor muscles, which you would never normally notice. So then I know if I feel that sensation, maybe I won't pick this up. I'll put that down and ask somebody else to go and lift that for me. So it's just kind of understanding the sensations of muscles that are very subconscious to us, not overdoing it, just taking it little and often, making sure that you rest, you sit down, you get enough sleep is really important. I'm definitely falling asleep sooner than normal and sleeping longer and deeper, which is such a wonderful thing. My skin feels amazing and I wake up feeling reborn. But that's my body's way of telling me you've been very active throughout the day in everyday life as a mum, cooking, cleaning, working, tending to children, 5 dogs. I am constantly on the go, but also not overdoing it. And if I do overdo it, if I have a very active day, not working out or anything, but just going through life, my body will just tell me now is the time to rest. I'll sit down on the sofa for a cup of tea and then I'll fall asleep at 2 p.m. So your body will tell you when you have done too much and it will snatch back that exertion with a little nap, which is wonderful because I have so much energy as somebody who has ADHD. I go through my day like the Energizer Bunny and I don't always realize when I'm getting to burnout until I'm so tired that I fall asleep. So for my body to be able to stop me and say, actually, be aware you've had surgery, don't do too much. I like that it kind of kicks in and makes sure that I settle down. Moving on to the third procedure, which was my stress incontinence TOT. Oh my goodness, it's incredible. So as I have healed after surgery, it's become more and more effective each and every day. I am now at the 2-week mark post-surgery, and the difference in my day-to-day life is immeasurable. Previously, before having my stress incontinence surgery, I would go to the toilet feeling bursting. My hair would stand on end. I would be in a panic to find the nearest toilet, perhaps when I'm out shopping or if I'm going about my day. You go from feeling discomfort, it always felt like a period ache to me, a kind of cramping and kind of feeling, to then suddenly going, I need the toilet now, find the nearest one. And when I would go to the toilet, I would be able to hold it, but it would be a discomfort. I then go to the toilet and it would come out like chucking a drink down the toilet for fear of too much information, but just transparency, to be honest here. Going to the toilet was very high pressured. I could go fast and hard and a lot of urine comes out at once. However, now, since having the surgery, there is not that kind of alarm bell moment where I'm suddenly bursting, I'm in pain or discomfort and need to find a toilet. Now it's a kind of, I don't get discomfort in between. I'm not constantly doing little bits here and there. Frequency has definitely reduced. And when I do go to the toilet, it's slow and calm and controlled, consistent. It's not a sudden gush of water like turning a tap on full and then turning it immediately off. It's turning it on, allowing it to run, turning it off. So there is a lot of control there that I don't think I've experienced in decades, in all honesty. Regardless of having had my children, I've always been what I would say is a hamster bladder, a tiny bladder that always feels full. Even after I'd been to the toilet, there felt like there was more left and it ached and it was uncomfortable. But now I'm coming to understand that maybe that was my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Maybe that was more so unsupporting all of those organs, an area that needed to be held, that needed that control. So instead, I always had this ache where I would get into bed at night, feeling, even after I'd just been to the toilet, that I will need to go again in 5 minutes. And that kind of discomfort never left. Whereas now, it doesn't exist. There is no discomfort. And I go to the toilet expecting a tidal wave, and it's just a calm, controlled stream that ends. And it's so different, the reality now of going to the toilet. Before having surgery, I would have gone to the toilet just in case before leaving my house. As soon as I arrive at my destination and whilst I was there before returning home, knowing that if I'm in the car and I suddenly need to go, or if I'm on a train or in the middle of somewhere and I don't know where the nearest toilet is, I didn't want to be caught short. There is a thing known as bladder training, where we have this kind of mentality that we panic and have anxiety around going to the toilet. And many times my doctor would say to me, "You're feeling pain that doesn't exist. You're having an urgency that isn't there. You are doing this to yourself." And I would say, "I'm not doing this. I don't want this pain. I don't want my hair to stand on end and for me to get cold sweats because I'm so bursting for the toilet. It's agony." Out of nowhere, feeling normal and then bursting. No warning in between, no build up, just bursting. And many years ago, I actually had a scan at the hospital through my GP where I had to drink a big jug of water and then have an ultrasound scan on my bladder for them to see my maximum capacity, me bursting, for them to scan and see what was happening and why. And they said to me, "You are bursting, but your bladder's not even half full. But the symptoms you're receiving is mentally. You are feeling that way because you're telling yourself that." But now, if that has been the way that I've lived my entire life, if it had all been in my mind, as my GP said, why after surgery am I now not having any of those symptoms? They're instantly gone. That doesn't make sense. And I think when we go to a doctor and we ask for help, when we tell them what we are experiencing and the lower quality of life that we have because of these symptoms, they always try to give an excuse to say that you are causing it, that it's in your mind, or it doesn't really hurt, or it's not really inconvenient, it's a part of life. Oh, you've had a baby, or you're just drinking too much water because you go to the gym. Or maybe it's in your mind, you don't really need to go, but you're going on purpose, and that's causing your bladder not to reach its maximum capacity comfortably when you naturally should be able to. Whatever those reasons, those excuses given by my doctor, my surgeon has solved them in a heartbeat. So it goes to show that whether it's through the disability of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, through motherhood, through natural aging and stress incontinence, or through mentality, whatever that is, whatever the cause, it has been resolved. The root cause is gone. And I truly believe that actually it is the proper supporting of those organs, of the tract, to be able to pass urine comfortably and have that control throughout everyday life. As a result of this, I've all but halved the amount of times that I go to the toilet during the day and night. It's groundbreaking, it's huge, and we should be singing about this from the rooftops. The amount of women who are kind of gaslit into believing it's in their mind when they're living with very real symptoms. I feel like it should be addressed. It should be something that we're not ashamed of talking about and asking for a permanent, real solution for. Not to be told that your discomfort is invalid and that you have to just put up with it and live that way. This has been life-changing for me. I am sleeping all night without waking up multiple times, feeling stomach cramps and discomfort, knowing that I'm going to have to get out of bed and go to the toilet. Because now when I do, it's not an emergency, it's not a sudden rush, and I'm not sweating with hair on end, panicking, will I make it? I'm calm and controlled. And that can't be a mindset that switches overnight. If it's a lifelong mindset, it's going to take time to change. So that tells me personally, it was a physical problem that has been solved. And I absolutely love the fact now that I do not have pain from going to the toilet anymore. So those are my 3 intimate surgeries. That's my moles updated. Now let's move to dental. It's been 2 weeks since I've had my wisdom teeth removed. and 1 week since my aligners have started for teeth straightening. With the wisdom teeth, I am having 4 removed in total, but have 3 in one go because they want to leave you with one side of the mouth to be able to chew on. So my bottom lower wisdom tooth is still intact here, but the top and the bottom right have been removed. The bottom are a lot bigger and stronger teeth. They leave a bigger hole, and that's more likely where the food will go down. So that only the bottom right here has been stitched closed for the gum to make sure that nothing goes into it. However, the top 2 teeth, the gums are open with a kind of purse that just sits there as the gum naturally heals from the deepest level up to the surface and closes in time. This may take around 8 weeks even. So when I eat, I'm now on literally normal food. Being vegan, I don't have chewy meat. I don't like toast as I'm gluten intolerant. So I don't have sharp, scratchy or chewy things. I have fresh fruit, vegetables, oats, curry, lentils, rice, everything like that is absolutely fine, and it's naturally quite soft. So eating the food, I've never had any pain eating after having my teeth extracted. There was just a gentle kind of sensation. I wouldn't call it an ache because it wasn't discomfort. It was more, you could tell that you had teeth removed, that it was gentle, that you would, if you were to touch, you could get a kind of sensation that something was different. And that sensation of something having happened is now gone. So whatever you describe that as, that doesn't exist anymore. I can touch my face completely fine. I can put my tongue in all of the areas and it's not sore or sensitive at all. I do notice that I get food caught in my 2 upper holes. It kind of feels like something has just plugged the gap, like catching hair in a plug in the shower where it just gathers there. It's not something you can poke about with or dig out. If you push it, you're likely to push it deeper up. You can't put a toothbrush into your gum. So what you then do is brush your teeth after every meal, use the dentist's mouthwash, which is a disinfectant also, so it kills off any bacteria that could be forming, and as well helps to loosen off any trapped food. As you were talking or going about your day, you randomly get like a little piece of food just kind of drop down out of the gum, and I'm like, I found something as I'm hours after lunch or dinner. It's not something that I'm stressing about. It's completely natural and normal that an open hole will take liquid or food that's already chewed up and very small and soft, kind of plug the hole, and then with time, as you're talking and going about your day and brushing and rinsing your mouth, it just pops out again and you either spit it out or swallow it. It's food that you would have already had in your mouth. It's not remaining permanently stuck, and it's not something that I stress about when it happens, because obviously an open hole will gather and then release things throughout the day. Each day that passes, the gum is then healing from the deepest levels up to the surface, and eventually nothing will be able to touch it or become trapped. So the stitches are still very much intact in my wisdom teeth. They are a black stitch that will just naturally loosen off and then dissolve over the coming days. Around 2 weeks is the kind of time that you would expect them to loosen off, but it takes as long as it takes. So I'm very happy with my wisdom teeth. As I say, there is no pain or discomfort, and it's been such a positive journey for me. I do have past trauma from dental work due to ehlers-danlos making numbing injections, local anesthesia ineffective. I've always felt every cut, every stab, every slice, and every twist of the mouth because it's just a natural thing that I've been born with that makes normal pain relief ineffective. So I have a very high pain tolerance, but I've also been traumatized by past dental procedures. When I was a child, I had overcrowding of the teeth and had one removed. I felt it as if somebody was just torturing me. I did not feel any numbness or loss of sensation. It was very, very vivid and very, very delicate and sensitive for me. Even as an adult, having adult braces fitted, the numbing injections used to file teeth and try to twist them and move them, was very, very uncomfortable. So the difference in UK dentistry versus Turkish dentistry has been immeasurable. It was so uplifting, such a positive experience for me, and something that would have been a major, major thing in the UK to have just one tooth removed, having 3 at once and then straightening. It was a walk in the park, and I'm so, so happy they understood Ehlers-Danlos syndrome for the first time ever in my life, and I no longer have that dental fear because of it. I'm looking forward to having my 4th wisdom tooth removed once my straightening is complete and the squares can come off of my teeth. They can be whitened and any areas tweaked and made lovely and natural and bright. So very much looking forward to that in several months' time. Finally, the teeth straightening. I have my aligners for 10 days at a time, and I am almost ready to start my next aligner tray. So that will be 2 of 22, as this is currently 1 of 22. As the days go on, so that 10-day period of wearing each set of aligners, to start with, they are very tight and stiff. You click them in and it's a pop. To then get them out, I found the best method for removal, because I don't like bending fingernails. It feels to me, but the dentist was able to just pull them out with her fingers. I use a teaspoon. I just hook it around the back of the aligner at the top there, the widest part, clip it down slightly so it sits away from the tooth, then I pinch it with my fingers and pop it all the way around. So I just do the top back corner and the bottom right corner there, squeeze and then pull them round, and they come out perfectly without any damage. But you can just hook a fingernail under each side and hook it down. For me, that makes my hair stand on end. I don't like the thought of bending nails, so I much prefer a teaspoon, as it's a thin piece of metal. A big spoon would be too thick, so a teaspoon works perfectly. In my opinion, everybody probably has their own way of dealing with or comfort. The first few days of wearing the aligner, as I say, it's more snug because the teeth are the most out of the alignment. And as the days go on, it becomes easier to ping them in and out. It also takes away some of the pressure on the teeth, because obviously when the aligner goes on, it's pushing on the squares that are fitted all around the mouth to then give that resistance to bring the teeth back into alignment. Even if it's less than a millimetre at a time, it is making that kind of point of contact and pushing against it. So it's completely normal to feel a little sensitivity on days when the teeth are pushed the most at the very start of the aligners being worn, and then as each day passes you don't notice it, because the teeth have moved that little bit, you get used to the pressure, and also it pops in and out more easily. So by day 5, 6, 7 of wearing the tray, I don't even realise I'm wearing them. It's very quick and easy to get them in and out, to clean them, and it doesn't feel like anything is going on with my mouth. But for the first few days, I did notice that little pressure tension. It's not pain or discomfort, you just kind of realise it's there, much like we never think of our elbow unless we hit it. I never think of my teeth until I have something that's kind of squeezing slightly or pressing slightly. And then I think, oh, I've got an aligner in. But then the coming days, it just melts away. Maybe you get used to that sensation until the next tray pops in, and then you get that pressure once more. So it's a really quick and easy procedure to go through. The fact that I can do it from home, just work my way through my box of 22 aligners and then return to Istanbul at the end of treatment, 220 days later, which is several months' time, and have it all concluded and my final wisdom tooth removed. So that has been my update in 2 weeks post-surgery. That's a third of the time through my overall total healing of 6 weeks. And I feel so, so good. Life has returned to normal. I'm sleeping earlier and longer, which is expected as I heal. I'm taking protein shakes. I'm not going to the gym, but I still live in gym wear because it is so comfortable. and I can wear more closed over clothing on my bottom half rather than skirts and dresses in the winter, because England is freezing. So I'm very much looking forward to the rest of my recovery, of preparing for Christmas with my family, and keeping you updated on my progress as I go. So every milestone I will make a video to tell you what's going on. I also welcome your comments and questions. If there's anything you'd like to know more about, I'm happy to share my personal experience with you. These 6 surgical procedures have helped me so much, and if it can make a difference to others, if you are more aware of what's available and what can be done, I think let's talk about this. Let's improve our lives, our quality of life, and choose longevity over vanity. You don't have to have surgery because there's something you hate. You can do it from a place of love and proactive healthcare. And to have that peace of mind through preventative healthcare in mole removal and wisdom teeth extraction, to know that I have limited my risk, suffering, and likelihood of developing cancer or digestive issues because of something that could have wholeheartedly been prevented. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I will continue to keep you updated, and I hope that it's been useful to see my personal experience with these 6 surgical procedures.